Now, JoyNews can report that the Privileges Committee of Parliament has, by a majority decision, voted to pardon Assin Central MP Kennedy Agyapong and Ayawaso Central MP Henry Quartey, both of whom absented themselves from Parliament for more than 15 consecutive sittings last year. The decision on the two MPP MPs, according to JoyNews sources, whereby a majority this vote, no decision has been taken on Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoa Sarpong as yet, as the committee prepares to lay its report before the whole House. Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante has been working on his sources in the committee and has joined us and has been speaking on Prime with their details. But we understand that the chairman of the committee has, some detail. He's been explaining to JoyNews why the committee is, or why the seat for the Dom Kwabenya MP is likely to be declared vacant.
Government can come up with programs that lead to
our role is to give her a hearing and to determine whether the explanation she has for being absent for 15 sittings without a permission from the Speaker is reasonable. Let me quote the Constitution so we are all clear. Article 97(1) says, a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament, A, upon dissolution of Parliament, or B, if he is elected as Speaker of Parliament, or C, which applies to this case, that he is absent without the permission in writing of the Speaker, and he is unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges from 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament during any period that Parliament has been summoned to meet and continues to meet. So, three things must happen for a member to automatically vacate his or her seat. One, if the member is absent for 15 sittings without the permission of Mr. Speaker in writing.
I think that if government really want to show leadership, government can come up with programs that lead to
the Privileges Committee. If these three things happen, then it's automatic. It's not for Parliament to do anything. It is not for the Speaker to do anything. It's not for the committee to do anything. So, in the case of Honourable Member for Dom Kwabenya and Adwoa Sarpong, the Speaker has already determined, by looking at the record and referring to the committee, that you have been absent for 15 sittings. You did not obtain permission in writing from me to be absent. So go to the Privileges Committee. If you have any reasonable explanation why you should not vacate your seat, tell them. Now, we had 4 sittings. The first 3 was to enable her tell us what her explanation was. We've offered her every opportunity that there was. We have advertised, we've sent letters to her registered address in Parliament. We've posted some on her known social media handles. We've advertised in the national newspapers on social media. She did not appear before the committee. So the responsibility is on her to take advantage of the opportunity and explain why she was absent for 15 sittings without permission. She did not take the advantage of the opportunities given her. So her vacation of Parliament is a matter of course. It's automatic. The committee doesn't have to say that leaves, no.
Well, one would have thought that the committee, your committee, after this work, will give a direct recommendation, as you've done in the case of the other 2 who appeared before you. You're saying that the onus is not on you?
All that our report will say is that they appeared before the committee. They offered explanations. The committee finds the explanation reasonable. So the third.
So what would be a typical report for Sarah Adwoa Sarpong, who did not, come before the committee? Are you going to say that she did not appear before the committee, so
yes,
it should be automatic? She should vacate her seat?
Of the opportunities given her, she failed or refused to.
Okay, so that's the chairman of the committee speaking to my colleague Emefa Appel there. Now let's take you to Parliament and speak to our parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante, who's joining us on phone. Kweku, what do we know of this? The chairman is telling us that the committee only has to present the report and say that, well, Sarah Adwoa Sarpong failed to take the advantage to explain her part. And the law is explicit that once she has not offered any explanation to Parliament, then of course the seat should be declared vacant. Is that what your sources are telling you?
Did not come up in the meeting. In fact, the meeting concluded on only the two MPs. In the case of Sarah Adwoa Sarpong, they decided to allow the House itself to take some decision, and so this is coming as a surprise to some members of the committee, especially members from the minority side. It's important to lay this context that both sides of the House held certain entrenched views on the committee. When it came to Kennedy Agyapong, MP for Asin Central and MP for Agyapong Central, Honorable Henry Quartey, they actually have to go to a vote, which the minority abstained. Indeed, if they actually participated in the vote, they would have lost because they had 12 members on the committee at the time, while the majority side had 15. So they abstained from the vote because they thought they wanted some more documentation from the two MPs to provide an explanation or medical excuse for why they were not in office. So those two issues have been settled because the committee has voted by majority that their explanation has been reasonable, and just like you heard the chairman of the committee say. On the score of Sarah Adwoa Sarpong, the committee decided that because she had failed to avail herself to the committee to come and provide an explanation, even though they had sent invitation through whatever means they could to try and reach her, they were still opening things up for some time to see if she will appear, maybe within the window that within the window that the committee will present the report to Parliament. Maybe something can happen and she will avail herself to be interviewed. That is why even a vote wasn't taken. But I get also that the explanation that the Honourable Chairman is giving, because if you look at the constitutional provision, it is clear that an MP will vacate their seat. The C part of the law, the law says that if she fails to appear before Parliament in 15 consecutive days and also fails to provide a reasonable explanation to the Committee of Privileges. Sarah Adwoa Sarpong is an established fact, has not been in Parliament for close to a year now. That is more than the 15 consecutive sittings in a meeting that the Constitution talks about. Okay. But also, she has failed to provide an explanation to the committee. There are those who will argue that she has not failed to provide an explanation because the committee has not been able to reach her, although the committee has been able to send invitation. Who can confirm whether or not Sarah Adwoa Sarpong has received the invitations or not? What if the MP has simply not received the invitation, and that is why she has not appeared before the committee? But this will be some sort of legal debate in the coming days, because the committee, either this week, either by the end of this week or next week, will be expected to present their report to Parliament. Mind you, Parliament is rising next week. That is the date they have announced. And so within this period, the report is expected to be laid and the decision will probably be taken. There are those who think that the report of the Privileges Committee is not even subject to debate. That is the majority side, the majority leader. Mm-hmm. On the day the referral was made, said that whatever decision the Committee of Privileges takes, that is it. The Speaker, on the other hand, and the minority believe that a committee's report or a committee cannot take decisions for the House. And so when they present their report, it must be subject to a debate and the whole House taking a decision. And so in the coming days, all these debates and all these legal issues will flare out, and it's expected that the MP for Dom Kwabenye's issue will be at the center stage brace.
So as of now, we don't know where this will lead us. We don't know whether, in fact, like the chairman said, the clerk of the House should just announce or declare that seat as vacant. That's not how we see it from where we are now.
Indeed, it cannot even be said so, because actually if you look at today's order paper and the list of MPs who are absent, Adwoa Sarpong's name will appear. It appears to me it will be the same story tomorrow. Her name will appear because she is still considered a member of parliament, although she has still not appeared before the House. It's what is left to be seen is which part of the legal argument would hold sway, because there are those with a viewpoint, like the majority leader of state chamber and President Joseph Osei, who just paid his insert, who think that the Privileges Committee's report is final, so to speak. And once they conclude the report and make some recommendation, the House simply adopts it suo motu, just like that.
Okay.
And there are those like the Speaker. Indeed, on the day he made the referral, it was clear that the report should come back to the House, it will be debated, and the House will take a decision on it like any normal committee works. That is how Parliament works. When a referral is made to a committee, the committee presents their report to the House, then the House will debate the report and decide whether to adopt the report or not. It is left to be seen whether they will adapt the same rules and mechanisms on this call. And so in the coming weeks, or in the coming days, when the Privileges Committee is finished and is presented to Parliament, this will come up. Indeed, let me also say that the minority, like I stated earlier on, the minority members of the committee do not go with the Deputy Speaker, the chairman of the committee, in these views. Some of them are telling me that these views are the chairman's view and his alone, and does not reflect that of the committee. But the way Parliament works is also that when the committee finishes its work, it is the chairman and the clerk who authors the report and tell Parliament this is what we agreed on. And so definitely, if this is the views of the Honourable Deputy Speaker, this will be reflected in the report. It will be laid before the House, and then we will see if the Speaker will allow this viewpoint to go or he will challenge it.
Interesting days ahead with regards to that particular seat, the Dom Kobenya seat.